Hello and welcome everyone back to Barovia. This is season 5 of Into the Mist, episode 1. We are so very excited to be back in the land of Ravenloft. It has been some time and we apologize for the lengthy break in between, but we wanted to make sure we did it right and are very excited to be back at the table. A couple quick announcements before we start, and then we'll get right into the action because we left off on a doozy. Yeah, we did. It was a bit of a doozy, and a lot of people are excited to see how that unfolds. I want to thank Dungeons & Dragons, of course, for creating this incredible game that we know and love and play on a, so I was going to say weekly basis. Now it would be a weekly basis moving forward. I want to thank our title sponsor, Beetle and Grimm's. They're an incredible company that creates boxed sets and experiences for your D&D 5e campaigns. The awesome Curse of Strahd box we are using, and we will be using even more this season than we have because a lot of the things in the box are from kind of late game, especially from a map perspective. So we will be doing that. They also did Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft as well. And anyways, they have a ton of boxes. Check them out, beetleandgrims.com. Thanks to them. I want to thank Hero Forge. Hero Forge is an incredible system online that you can create miniatures that you can either print full color and have them sent to you, or you can create yourself and paint yourself and print yourself. Anyways, amazing, awesome. Check them out. We use them also for a lot of our, apparently Noggins is walking along the top of mine. But anyways, yes, so very, very excited. Thank you, Joel, for that. And great to have you back at the table, by the way. But we'll do that later. Forged Gaming makes awesome dice. And they will be making a custom dice set for Into the Mist. We're in the midst of designing it right now and going through all the...
Are we in the midst of designing it
right now?
No,
Joel, don't change his cameras. Wow. This is my time.
And I thought we were the other ones that talked.
All right, so yes, awesome. Thank you, Forged Gaming. Check them out, forgedgaming.com. If you're interested in joining along with the narrative of the stream, we do have a Discord RP server or roleplay server where people are playing adventurers in Barovia along the same timeline as our cast. You are going to see actually in this episode ways that those players can interact with the stream as things are happening. So if you are a part of our Discord, if you have a character there and you're watching right now, make sure that you're on the Discord now because you will not want to miss what happens to the world and Barovia in this episode that definitely depends on you and affects you. And then, in order to get access to that, you can go to Patreon and become a patron, and you get a character in the Discord that you can play. I just came back from D&D in the Castle. It was really, really awesome. 1 week of awesome D&D. I think it was 24 hours of Dungeons & Dragons in a 3-day period. 2 4-hour sessions a day. And it was pretty amazing. And the castle was incredible. And we did like a ghost tour and stuff. You can check out the pictures online. And I will be posting more of them. Happy Halloween to everyone. It's kind of poetic to launch season 5 Halloween night. And thank you for going out and trick-or-treating with your kids really, really quickly so that you could be back here to watch us. D3 at Sea is coming November 13th. I will be there along with Omega and a bunch of other awesome Dungeon Masters, Mark Meir and Dot as well. Check that out. Thank you, of course, to and of course, Joel will be there as well on board with Mithril, which is going to be awesome. Thank you to our Smith Guardians. Those folks hold down the fort while all the craziness of all the shows that we've released and have been doing, they are the true backbone of making sure that RealmSmith continues to move forward in the direction, especially when it comes to the Discord and the Patreon. So thank you so much to the Smith Guardians out there. They work incredibly hard, as well as the Realm Watchers who moderate our community and make sure that it's safe for everyone involved. Also, we do have another 2 shows. The finales are happening in 2 penultimate episodes were this week. They're happening next week, the finales of Tales of the Wasted West and Incubus. Check them out. One's an Eberron. One is a Wild West take on D&D that I DM'd, and super excited about those shows too. So check them out. If you want to support a bit more, we have merch. You can check it out. Lots of Into the Mist merch below. And if you like what you see today, consider subscribing and sharing. And without further ado, once again, Glad to be back. Let us venture into the mists. All right. Welcome back. Last we left you all, it was quite the predicament you found yourselves in. You had all explored the Amber Temple for some time, and we joked many times throughout the end of the season that it was like collecting Pokemon, because you collected them all. You all have interesting dark gifts that you collected. Some which have had little consequence or little effect on you, and some which have affected you quite sufficiently and effectively, which leads us to where we last saw Dimitri and the rest of you. Dimitri had collected a dark gift that allowed him to resurrect a long-dead creature or entity. Mm-hmm. The look on your face right now is priceless. It's great. And when used to resurrect Argynvost, there was this moment where, through the sheer will and force of your ability and your connection to a loon, you were able to resurrect him. But he didn't come out quite as you expected. In fact, he came out somewhat twisted, undead. You could see that bones and flesh had been torn from his body as the mists gathered and attempted to stop the transformation that was occurring. At that time as well, once the dragon had risen, you changed as well, somewhat. Your visage, your visage became gaunt, almost undead-like. You grew, the fur that you had grown from the other dark gift that you got, turned white and bleached. And your eyes took a little tinge of red, much like the dragon that now looms over all of you. As you sit, actually currently, most of you prone, you notice that the visage of this undead dragon exists. And I'd like to welcome actually 2 new members to the table. We can go to the group shot. And thank Devin for producing today. Thank you so much. And we will introduce the new players in a second. There will be new faces to some of you. But in that moment, Argynvost, in this sort of undead, desecrated shape or phase, you all lie prone, except for Dimitri, who had now stood up at the end of the session. There was an explosion, and the beacon that had shot up through the clouds in Barovia, who had provided light and hope to all of the people of the valley, immediately went out. And then there was like this explosion, a cacophonous kind of sound, almost like thunder, that emanated and grew out from where you were. As the mist begins to settle and clear, you look around and you notice the first thing being that, not that, the first thing being that Ezmerelda and Travas are gone. You notice the area or the imprint of where they were, but during the process of this whole situation, they disappeared. That's the first thing you notice. The second thing you notice is at the edge of Argynvost, this grand mansion that exists. You notice that it almost looks like there is a dome of mist that surrounds it within maybe 50 to 100 feet in its circumference around the entirety of the mansion.
So clear visibility to each other, but not beyond that dome.
But not beyond that dome. And so, and the dome completely encapsulates Argynvost currently. And it looks like mist. It's just solid, top to bottom, all the way around. And that includes the cemetery that exists just outside. And you also notice two new individuals amongst you. Welcome, Erin, who everyone at home, Erin is new to RealmSmith, for me, but has been watching our stuff for a very long time. Let me just do a quick introduction. She was at D&D in the Castle with us and played at my table, and I was honored to have her, and I was so very impressed with her roleplay. I knew Noura couldn't make our first day of shooting, and so I asked Erin to come join us, and I was honored. And actually, in the process, the D&D in the Castle adventure was a Curse of Strahd campaign or adventure, and she ended up being trapped alongside in the mists while the rest of the party was let go, and she has joined us today. So thank you, Erin, for joining us tonight in the role of Aster. As everyone looks around, Aster, can you tell me what they see?
So Aster is a very petite young woman. Looks like she's maybe in her early 20s, half elven in appearance, probably some drow heritage, long white hair. She looks a little worse for wear, dark circles under her eyes. Looks like she's seen better days. She's wearing just kind of bare leather armor, kind of almost a clerical style robe over it. There are a set of kind of strange pipes, look like they're made out of bones, hanging from her belt, along with a handful of strange other items. She kind of glances around. Her appearance very monotone in coloration, grays and whites and blacks, except for like her eyes, which are very vibrant and kind of shift colors in the light. And she kind of looks up very wide-eyed, startled.
And then, on the other side of the party, you see this individual. Of course, Tom of Linvander and Six Sides of Gaming fame. Good friend of mine, close friend for years now. What do they see?
Are we prone? Or are we walking? Or are we?
You are just standing.
Okay.
So we all know kind of where you maybe came from, what you were doing last. Nobody here knows, so you don't have to say it now. But you find yourself, all of a sudden, the mist clears, and you find yourself standing in this scene that I just described. There is a mansion, an ancient, kind of decrepit, broken-down mansion, and out kind of behind it, in what appears to be a cemetery, there is a destroyed crypt. There is an undead-appearing dragon nearby that is looming over the party, as you see.
So what you see is a very different-looking humanoid. His eyes, the irises of his eyes are a milky white that are slowly receding in a glow. I'm wearing shining, fairly worn but still quite vibrant plate armor, blues and yellow, golden trim, blue flowing sapphire-like capes, and in his hand you see a long bastard sword held out in an outstretched position as if he were just about to parry a blow or to finish something. And the blade is made out of it's irony that where we are right now, an ember. It is made of amber. It looks like it is sharp and glistening. It has an ember glow that is beginning to recede, reducing the glow around the mist, turning everything from a nice amber hue to a gray, and then his eyes also kind of match that, and then he is just staring very, very obviously confused.
So Jay,
Yeah.
suffice it to say, Dimitri has changed.
Yes.
Okay.
Clearly.
And to any, bystander, it would look like there's still a female party member,
Yes.
and there is still another male party member,
Yes. And two others are missing.
but Dimitri just changed. So I will go to the party and go, Are we all still here? Dimitri, are you okay? And Travas and Ezzy, you look so very different. Are you okay?
At that moment,
Who?
At that moment, you're kind of stopped in your tracks as you look around, and the first thing you notice is the look on Sir Godfrey's face as he peers at Argynvost for the first time in centuries, standing before him, his patron, the lord that he has served even in undeath. And as he looks out, you also notice dozens of ghostly shapes begin to rise from the graves around Argynvost Holt. And the ones that rise from the graves around Argynvost Holt seem to be, in their ghostly sort of visage, possibly more lofty in their rank, as though perhaps generals or sergeants of such. And then all the way around the grounds, you start to watch as these ghostly figures begin to rise and then settle standing. You are surrounded now by what appears to be hundreds of ghostly soldiers. Sir Godfrey immediately falls to his knee, weeping tears that don't exist. And in turn, the entire army bows around Argynvost.
So Knights of the Silver Dragon, I suspect.
Order of the Silver Dragon.
Order, yeah.
Yeah, and you did meet some of the revenants who were the knights who stayed, but you imagine that these are all of them that have been here and fought that final battle, that have been basically trapped. As you know, souls can't leave this place, that have been trapped in Barovia since its fall. What do you do?
So, Valver just said something, but Dimitri's sort of not listening to anything else. The Draco Lich is just standing there, or
Yeah, so currently, as you kind of look up, you stand, and he kind of, I said in the finale, he's kind of looming over you, and as you kind of look up, you see him like, and he's like breathing. You don't feel any breath emanating from his snout, but you watch as he staggers and kind of bracing himself, almost like he's not fully sturdy on his feet. And he's huge at this stage.
I'll look intently, watching as he stumbles a little, and I'll also drop to one knee, and with the sword of Argynvost, perch it into the ground, and look up and say, it really you? Is it really you? And then for a second, something catches my thought. I look down and my hands realize like a lot is different right now, but I'm still fixated on the dragon.
Yeah, and as mentioned, in this moment, you feel the absolute lack and absence of the light of a loon, which has filled you with hope and fervor and bravery this entire time. Mm-hmm. You even feel a slight warmth, but an uncomfortable warmth, almost like an itch, from an item that sits under your armor, which is right here, as you wear it.
Okay, I'll get it.
And it's not repelling you or anything like that, but there's a different sense, a different feeling that you get from this item than you did previously in your current state.
So, as Dimitri says that and kneels in front of Argynvost, I'm going to stand up and just look around at the spirits that are coalescing around me and the massive Draco Lich that's risen up, and I'm going to quietly walk up behind Dimitri, and I'm going to put my hand on his shoulder. Dimitri, what have you done?
I did exactly what we came here to do. I did everything right. Everything that we did that led to this moment was the right thing to do. And this is what we're left with.
This is what you wanted?
I don't know. I don't know yet. And I'll pull out the holy symbol and I'll say to Roan, actually I'll take it off. I'll hold it in my hand. I feel like I've lost something. I feel dim with darkness. There used to be a presence. I could always detect that. I feel nothing. I don't feel anything. Any darkness.
So, as you say that, just, as you're kneeling down, still holding that, and Roan's still above you with his hand on your shoulder, no one else seeing because we're at the front, the slightest smile is going to cross Roan's face. Just a slightly dark smile. And if you look at his face, you just see this dark grin, and the empty dark sockets where his eyes used to be bleeding out darkness trails going down his face. And Roan's gonna smile slightly and not let that be heard in his voice, but say, "Oh, Dimitri, there's always hope in the darkness."
But that isn't what brought us here. That's not what brought us to this point. And I'm going to lift up the symbol in front of the dragon and say, "Argynvost, I am your servant. What would you have us do to defeat the evil of this land?" And I'm going to activate the symbol and use sunlight.
Okay. Do you have the description of sunlight real quick?
Yes. As an action, you can expend 5 charges while presenting the holy symbol to make it shed bright light in a 30-foot radius and dim light for an additional 30 feet. The light is sunlight and lasts for 10 minutes or until you end the effect.
Is sunlight.
Okay. All right.
So we're watching this go down.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people.
Yeah.
And I see an undead dragon in front of me. Well, I'm not stupid and young, so I will not just immediately brashly do the wrong thing. And instead I will just hold my sword at a defensive position and observe everything around me, including the mists behind me. I will kneel down and grab the grass, feel the dirt. This does not feel like home. This does not feel like
No,
home.
it doesn't.
And then I'll watch this transpire.
All right. As you let it off, you watch as Argenvost recoils from it and starts to kind of dig his feet, his clawed kind of hands into the ground as he kind of backs away from it and puts his hand up, and you watch as his wing sort of comes over the front of it. And you watch as the flesh on his wing begins to kind of sizzle a little bit, and you hear him groan. What do the rest of you do in that moment?
I think Noggins is going to finally get on his feet, noticing the two individuals who we don't know, but also clearly notice the sunlight beaming from this symbol, kind of shields his own eyes. Maybe you should turn it off. I don't know if that's helpful right now.
Yes, what Noggins said. Dimitri, please.
Noggins. It's the only light left that I know.
What?
Roan steps backwards and, hides himself away. And it lights up and it shows the darkness that's dripping from his eyes sort of retreats back, and it just leaves the empty sockets of Roan's eyes in plain view.
Yeah, it's great that's it's cool light. We like it, but it's burning him.
Also, look at the dragon. You're hurting him.
I'll watch, seeing the reaction of the dragon. Argenvost, will you not say something?
Is it still activated?
Well, if he's covering his face, then I'll recognize and I'll just deactivate it.
Yeah. As he lowers his wing, he looks down, rather, at you, confused. You sense, and you don't need an insight check for this, you sense confusion for him. You sense disorientation. And he goes, oh, there is much to discuss. And he kind of looks up at Sir Godfrey, almost like he's starting to kind of recognize people and collect. And in that moment, you watch as he transforms and begins to shrink and decline in size and shape. And before you, you see a slight humanoid-looking human, dressed in kind of finery and noble garb. Yes,
Rare.
but much the same visage as Godfrey. So sunken, kind of an undead look, but this, closely coiffed, perfectly coiffed, kind of white hair, as Argenvost stands before you in a humanoid shaped form. And he again stumbles and staggers as he catches his footing, and he puts his hand on your shoulder and he says, my champion, I must, I must rest for a time. There is much to discuss. Please accompany me to my chambers. And he begins to kind of walk towards the mansion.
Falford will like just seeing that the dragon, obviously we saw him changed into human form and now is kind of being led by Dimitri to his chambers. I'll just like quick step up to, yes, let us proceed with the dragon man.
I will, while this is all transpiring, I will be detecting good and evil.
Okay.
Just privately while holding my sword out, while that scene was transpiring.
Sure.
What am I detecting?
Sure, undead, right?
Well, that's
Undead
divine
fiend.
sense, which I'll do in a second.
Okay. So detecting good and evil is just remind me.
It's the only card I didn't grab. So give me 1 second real quick. You can do divine sense first then. I'll do that first. Divine sense is for fiends, undead.
Yeah.
Obviously there are many, so...
Many undead.
Okay.
Many within.
I'm one of those fellows that likes to use the old paper book.
Yeah, I like it. While you're doing that, okay.
Okay, so it is the same thing. Aberrations, fiend, elemental. Okay, so it's not as it used to be. Never mind. It is the same as divine sense, really.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not getting
You
any.
get more with detect good and evil. You get aberrations, fiend,
Yes.
and fey, and,
Yes.
and elemental stuff that you don't get.
Yeah.
In that case, would I be allowed to insight the mood of the crowd to see if this is a force of ill intent?
Sure. Yeah, give me an insight check. If everyone else can give me a perception check, please.
22 is my result.
Okay. All right, with the 22 insight.
Watching.
Yeah, so as you watch, it appears as though you get the sense that what you're witnessing is reverence for this creature, but there is a confusion from the non-undead gathered. So everyone that's undead, you see this kind of undead sort of knight-looking, actually you see two of them, along with all of the ghostly kind of apparitions that are there, and the dragon, all look emaciated.
But I'm not sensing
Undead.
hostility.
But you're not sensing hostility. In fact, you're sensing a oneness. You're sensing a reverence for this creature, and like a sense of togetherness from them. You definitely sense confusion from those others that are kind of gathered.
And the other person across the way in the mist.
Yeah, even more so.
The lady.
But you can tell that you can sense like that the others know each other, and there's a sense of that with a 22. For perception checks, all of you, anyone over a 15. No, Noggins? Okay.
Solid 8.
Noggins, you look up, which is actually quite fitting. You look up at the dome, and you watch as, almost like fingers unclasping, that the mist begins to recede at the top of the dome. And for the first time, you see what might appear like a sky in Barovia. And yeah, and so everyone else is kind of looking around, and you just being aware of nature and the moon and stars, and you notice this. And as you kind of look up, you watch as a face begins to coalesce in the clouds surrounding. Siri? Did you? Yeah, because we're streaming on the web. That's I found this on the web. Thanks, Siri. We're right here. We already know.
It was an insight check.
Yeah, it was an insight check. Yeah,
She got 28.
yeah, exactly. You watch as almost like the moon in the middle of this sky, in this kind of opening of cloud, is almost like a maw that opens up. And so the moon is within a mouth. And the rest of the visage of what appears to be a humanoid-like creature with long, black, straight hair begins to speak with this mouth made of clouds. Immediately, all of you surrounding the area hear a voice that booms across the valley. And the voice is clear and present and reverberates across, almost like it's bouncing off the mountains and then coming back. And at the same time, feels like a whisper in your ear. Like ever present, close and far. Inside your mind and surrounding you. And everyone kind of looks up as this voice begins to speak. It says, "Hear me now, Barovia. Let this serve as a warning to those who wish to aid these so-called Dawnbringers any further. I will give you one chance, a singular choice. Deliver them unto me, or else suffer a fate worse than death. There is no escape for them, those that have stolen away one true love, my one true love, and awakened my greatest adversary." And at this point, like, you watch as, like, you feel Argynvost's hand kind of tighten on your shoulder at just the sound of the voice, and you feel him tense, and you watch as he stands a little bit straighter and a little bit surer against what is happening. The voice pauses, and it is as if he is looking into each and every soul across the valley. You feel as though he is speaking into your very essence. To those who call themselves Vistani, it is time to stop this foolish meddling. I offer a peace. Return to my service, and I will forgive your transgressions. I will return to you the powers of your people and forge a new pact. For I have not forgotten your ancestors' deeds, even if you have. I give you 1 month. Bring the Dawnbringers to me. If you do not, say your piece to whatever absent god you mortals serve, but know this, it will do you no good. For I am beyond their reach, and your souls are forever mine. 1 month, or be consumed. And with his final words, the clouds return to normal, surrounding what appears to be a full moon, suspended in the clouds, almost like the mist has closed around this moon that exists in the sky. And you watch as the bottom sliver of the moon pools with red, almost like blood, and then solidifies. In this moment, all the ghosts go away, and you are left in silence. What do you do?
Where am I?
Travas, please, quiet. I'll turn to Sterling and I go, Sterling, what do you make of this? What have they done to Ezzy and Travas and Dimitri? Why is it only us that are still strange like we usually are, and they're extra strange?
I cannot tell you. None of this makes sense to me.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
So one of my dark gifts, period. I can. It's True Sight, but specifically with True Sight, I can perceive the original form of a shape changer or a creature that is transformed by magic. This, looking at this individual with armor and the other individual with the long hair, the petite woman, do they look like this is a disguise, like something's changed? Do they look like beneath them is Ezmerelda and Travas?
There is no sort of illusory magic or anything that you sense. They are what they appear to be.
Great. I'm looking at this guy for a second, and when Falfur says that, I kind of just happen to glance over at these two. I don't think that's Ezmerelda or Travas.
I take a slightly deeper look at them and I'm like, you might be right. Who are you?
I was about to ask you the same question.
Well, I've always been here. Well, not exactly. But I've been here longer. You go first.
And I kind of take a step back, kind of place a hand over my chest, looking a little bit like unsettled and panicked by everything that has just happened. And I'll just... My name's Aster.
Aster, what have you done with Ezzy?
I haven't done anything. Where? Did you pull me out of there?
Pull you out of where?
The dungeons. This...
Oh,
What is going on?
it's very confusing. Wait.
I will ask this again. Where am I?
How far are we from them?
Yeah, so you're all they
you didn't
are
answer
but
that.
they're but paces away from where you stand.
Okay.
One on each side.
Okay.
I did detect, yes.
I'll stay at the front, still watching Dimitri as he walks off with Argynvos, sort of ignoring what's happening behind me.
Yeah. And you continue to do that, or are you staying put?
Yeah,
Right.
so he asked me to lead him.
Yeah,
To
he
his
said to his
chambers,
chambers.
yeah, of course
Obviously,
he
he's
was.
in a
So-
weakened state.
I'm
Yeah.
not getting any...
I'll take him.
You continue off into the mansion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still just introspective, trying to figure out everything that just happened.
Sure.
Trying to piece it all together.
Sure.
But I'll
So
take him.
technically, nothing that I just said actually happened because I actually followed him up.
Well, you started to, but then you, no, you didn't. That's not because they stopped.
Okay.
When Strahd spoke,
Okay.
and then now you
Fair.
You said what you did, and you can decide to go with them if you want, or okay.
That's who
stick
that
around.
was.
Okay. So go ahead. Yeah.
No, so you were going to say something?
I was just following up on whether you mentioned that you were doing both.
Yes, I did the
Yeah.
Divine Sense and the Detect Good and Evil.
Okay.
But the Detect Good and Evil, I don't believe it allows me to detect... Because they took alignments out, so...
Yeah, you're not.
You can tell the first dead player.
Yeah.
Or the 3.5.
Yeah.
I will. So I saw this person transform from a dragon into this god form. Now, where I come from, this is something that I would recognize to me as an elder dragon. And the sword that I have is the fang of an elder dragon, and they would recognize it. So I would naturally assume that this is an elder dragon. So I will look at this dragon and say, "Elder dragon," and I'll hold the sword up, and my eyes will start to glow, and the blade will glow as I cast light. But it's not sunlight; it's just regular light. Is it cantrip? This is one of your brethren?
Argynvos, my brother!
What's up, bro? Long time no see.
Yeah.
Brethren, do you recognize this blade?
He kind of stops, and he kind of like staggers a little bit, and he looks back, and he says, "What kind of dragon is it from?"
It's, an amber dragon.
An amber dragon. He stops and he says, "I do not. I must rest." And he kind of turns and continues walking.
You see him look at the blade like confused. A regular dragon. What do you call this land?
Are you asking?
I'm
me?
asking
Yeah,
anybody.
'cause he's
Anybody.
continuing to
Anybody
walk.
You're in Barovia.
For posterity, I'll make a history check. But
Yeah, yeah.
it'll
it's fine. No,
fail.
we'll see.
It'll fail.
what is
So
it?
my history check is a 7.
Yeah, I know. Never heard of Barovia.
Is this in Ionia? The Vale.
What?
Thalagrant. Which continent is this
You
on?
you are in the death realms, the realms of darkness.
The nightmare.
Yeah, yes.
That
You
is-
see, you said that word and specifically Noggins perked up.
Yeah.
That's exactly where we are.
I do not feel the presence of the veil here. Therefore, if this is the nightmare, then it is masking my senses. Regardless.
So at this point, hearing them talk, fine with a lingering glance, following Dimitri, I'm going to turn around and look at both Aster and Loholt, although they haven't given their names yet, I suppose.
Aster has.
Okay, Aster has. And I'm going to look at both of them and say, you find yourself in the dark realms, one of which we live in right now is Barovia. And God help both your souls. Although there's no gods in this land. And with that, I'm going to turn around and follow Dimitri.
Well, then
That's actually not true. That's a lot of like dark gods. We just found that out in like maybe like a year ago in our minds.
Roan will shoot an annoyed glance at Noggins that lingers for a moment before continuing to walk.
You are in a nightmare, but this place is a realm We've discovered all of its own. It's not connected too much, and there's like a lot of mist outside, like you can see right there, but it like goes way farther than that, and you can't leave. We've realized that one too. Kind of sucks.
Well met. My name is Loholt.
Loholt, is it Lo?
I'm not gonna remember that, but thanks.
Loholt. 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 I like it. It's very, it's not from here.
I don't believe I am.
None of us actually are. We are attempting to defeat that very voice we just heard. I believe, and I turn to the others and say, I believe that was Strahd.
I probably, if somebody, their face is like in the sky and we know like he's like the warden of this prison, it kind of makes sense.
They start to
As
walk.
they say this, Aster actually lets out like a little bit of like a laugh and just says, good luck with that. Trust me, you won't get very far.
Oh, we know. We've been trying a lot of things as we've been here, and this is like our big, hoorah! We're going to resurrect the old dragon who fought Strahd and tried to fight and beat him. Because we beat him, we might be able to win. But then we found out we might not actually win because there's a lot more than that. It's very complicated. Yeah.
Well, seeing as though I don't know how to get home, and whatever this ends up being, for now, consider me an ally.
I've heard those words before from some ugly sisters once.
Do I look like a sister to you?
You certainly don't look like my sister. But what I'm saying is that, if we're together and perhaps after a few ales, maybe, but let's just deal with the current situation. Like, there's a dragon turned man. You are visiting from another land we don't really know you yet. I would love to find out more about you. How many family members do you have?
I will drop the amber blade into the dirt, and then I will start to walk a circle around, as many of them as I can.
Are you drawing a
circle? As I drag
circle?
the blade, yes.
What are
And
you
then
doing?
when it completes, it will shine with amber light, and I'll cast Zone of Truth.
And then am I in the circle?
Yes.
Oh, shit. Sorry, kids.
You could just.
I know, but now that we're dancing inside a circle.
And I will say, there is no need for you to stay in this circle. However, I believe that so long as the light shines within this ring and we stand, no lies may be preached. I have no intent to harm any of you.
You watch as that amber light that exists begins to turn slightly green and putrid. And that warm glow that is welcoming, it has no effect on the effect of whatever you're doing, but even your sword, you can tell, glows with a darker, more putrid, greenish color than it used to.
Noggins, Dimitri, and Rome left, which is interesting. And Ezmerelda's not there. Oh God, he looks at Sterling. Completely ignoring what Loholt just did, but also not ignoring it. Like noting it, which is the premise of him talking to Sterling. And he says, in a place where, bad people are like around every corner, I kind of don't like someone trying to make us tell all of our secrets. Should I get rid of that?
Do I hear you say that?
Yes.
I'm not asking you to share your secrets. I only want you to state if you have intentions to hurt each other or harm anyone here. Or if your intentions to destroy whatever evil is in this place is in fact true. What you do at night and who you do it with is none of my business.
The fact still remains. Most people ask before they get they do stuff like this.
My apologies.
I'm still looking at Sterling though. I will not do anything until I get a response from him.
So up to this point, Sterling has been standing and watching everything. And there's a heaviness to him in his posture, his stance. He isn't usually so slunk down like he is now. He often stands taller, but it seems that the weight of all of this is really pressing on him. I suppose truth couldn't hurt in this moment. I will not fight this, and I will give you full honesty. From my perspective, Strahd is the worst creature this land has ever seen. He holds it in the palm of his hand, and he tortures those that live here. He must be stopped by any means necessary, and I, for one, will die trying.
And when he says that, you all kind of, not you guys because you guys are gone, the rest of you kind of look at each other, noticing the ways in which, actually it's only the three of you, Noggins, Sterling, and Falfer.
Is Aster not there?
No, you guys are there. I'm just saying, those that exist from the party from before, kind of notice how you've changed even in the time that you've been here, and that those words ringing through that, the hope and the light that you kind of entered this world with has changed you even before each other, and that weighs.
Yeah, I'll, in response to Sterling's desire for truth, I'll stand firmly inside the circle.
And people can decide to
move out.
They can move out,
they can decide to try and fight it.
Yes, they can try to fight it. Yeah, they can do a saving throw for it, like Auge.
Yeah. Is there anyone that wants to?
Hold on.
And is it secretive, or do you
Charisma
know if
saving
they
throw.
Do you know? Do you know that they
failed
failed?
save, the creature can't speak a deliberate lie in the radius. I know whether a creature succeeds or fails.
Okay.
However, silence is allowed. You can choose to not answer something.
Yeah. Is there anybody who wants to try and fight this and not?
Hearing what Sterling said, Noggins will stay in the circle and he'll fail.
Okay.
Though you will notice that there is an innate resistance, not intentional. It's just very hard for magic to take hold on him.
Yeah. Okay.
I noticed that.
You would just feel that there is like a tug, even as he gives in. Mechanically, I have resistance. I have advantage on against magical effects.
Yes.
So you just feel that it's even hard, but it still goes through.
Okay.
And so this small, purpley, halfling-looking thing with two heads.
Oh yeah, and sorry for those that are gathered. For you specifically, what does Loholt see? Aster, you've watched our show a lot. I don't think Tom has.
I've watched it.
I'm just kidding. I know you watched some of it. But as a refresher, around the table, what does everyone see?
Yeah.
You want to start here?
Yeah. So this small halfling-looking purpley character.
Well, he's right there on the
with
the
horns,
picture.
like deer-like horns.
Yeah, like a
sticking out
crown
his head.
almost made of deer.
Yeah. Is within the circle, and he's carrying two hand crossbows and a few daggers on his belt, and looks like a hunting kind of
more feral than sophisticated.
Exactly.
Yes.
Although he thinks he's sophisticated.
Of course.
Right.
You see this.
Okay.
Quite literally.
Yes. And Tom is playing a character in class from their Legacy of Mana book, which we'll be talking about at some point. But anyways, but yeah, the really cool stuff and D&D 5e content.
You'll see. We'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get to it. But it'll be fun. What is he?
when you see Roan, you see what's on there, sort of a large overcoat, beard. You see multiple scars that run across his face, as well as a white streak through his hair. He's classically good looking, or would have been.
Of course he is.
But what probably really strikes you about him when you look at him is you see that the shadows sort of like behave strangely about him, like flicker strangely around him and swarm and move about in strange ways. And when you meet his eyes, you don't actually see any eyes. You see sunken holes that it almost looks like he's weeping. Weeping tears and of liquid darkness, just a perpetual dripping of dark tears that run down his face. It's not blood, but it looks like pure liquid darkness sort of dripping down his face. So it's quite strange to see.
And when you look at Dimitri, you do not see the picture that's underneath my hair.
Not anymore.
Well, you actually
We will be updating that very soon.
Yeah. We actually see is the black hair is actually now white hair, and there is white fur that comes out the sleeves as if it sort of covers a lot of his body and comes down in like sort of a sideburn type situation, all white. And the skin is sort of a gaunt, undead-looking, tight to the face, grayish type of a skin. And the eyes have a red glint to it, which looks very unnatural.
But he did not ping for undead.
Interesting.
Everyone else that looked undead did. He did not.
And none of them pinged.
No.
Aberration.
Grave worm. You might have gotten a slight hint of it around me, but not quite.
Okay. An aura, if you will.
Slight. Yeah.
And for the others, Aster,
Yeah.
Noggins, and Sterling.
Yeah, Sterling. Let's go with Sterling, and then Aster. You already gave a description, right? Earlier. Yeah. So Sterling.
Alright, so Sterling is a 7 foot tall metallic humanoid.
Oh.
Yeah. So a warforged, but to all appearances, a massive metal human. He has plate armor grafted to his body. Inscribed on the front is "The sun will rise again." He carries a large shield and also what appears to be a magical sword. And you would have gotten a slight hint of undead from him as well, I believe. Jay, you can correct me.
Slight,
but
yeah. Slight hint, yeah.
gotten a
Slight whiff.
A whiff of undead.
Yeah.
Just a.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Noggins. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry, Sterling. Sorry, bud.
No, that's okay. His eyes glow red. And he also has runes inscribed on various parts of his body.
And you see a darker brown skinned individual. Their upper body seems humanoid. Seems something. I'll say that. He wears a vest, a green vest. No shirt underneath that. He has 2 horns coming out of his forehead. He has these greenish, green to dark gray brown eyebrows that matches his beard in the same coloration. He has these big old horns, not horns, ears that kind of like fold off to the side, look very goat-like. The bottom half of him is goat-like. He has 2 hooves for feet, with hair all over his legs, going up his body. His eyes used to be blue, but now you just see, in contrast to Roan, while Roan has these voids of, liquid darkness, as he says, you see almost like a nebula in Noggins' eyes right now, ever shifting, ever changing, perhaps seeing so many different things at once. He has a small little scythe on the side of his body, kind of dangling off. And he also has a staff that kind of has this cold emanating crystal at the end of it.
Wow, this Hero Forge stuff is really accurate. It's like my God, there it is. There's the site. Where's the crystal?
Yeah.
No.
That's new.
Newer find.
And from your detect evil and good, you will get 100% Fey.
Awesome.
Right.
You would also technically get that from Valford.
That's true.
And a point of note, there is a trace of the undead presence on Aster as well.
Wow.
Yeah, I was wrong. I forgot. Lots of whiffs.
You
Lots
get
of
a, you
whiffs
get a
of
slight
undead.
whiff of fiend.
Can't
as
be in
well.
Barovia for any
Fiend
reason.
as well?
Something like that. Something unnatural.
Jesus.
It's quite the group.
Yeah.
All right.
And I look like
It's the Rotley crew.
Yeah.
We've been here a long time.
Okay, back into it. You're in the zone of truth. All of you have decided not to
Lie.
attempt to overcome it. Is that correct? Okay.
The
All right.
closer in, yeah.
And nobody has stepped out of it except for the two that have already left. Okay.
Thank you. And I apologize.
It's gone. Okay.
Should we then proceed and follow our friend? By the way, that was our friend who took the dragon man up to his chamber. Should we follow him? You're gone already, right?
I left
With him or-
shortly after that like quick comment to them about being in the land of darkness.
If your quest is...
Quick question, Jay.
Yeah.
I don't know if my sight can pierce the mist at all, but I'm just going to do a look around if I see any trace of Ezmerelda, Travas, or footprints, anything.
Yeah, survival checks.
Them just disappearing is weird.
Yeah.
Great. I will put guidance on myself because Noura Cleor. That natural 20,
Yo.
which will make
First one of
this with guidance what is math? 30.
dirty.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
It's a casual 3-0.
It'll
Yeah.
do.
Okay. With a 30, you can see exactly where they were when the explosion occurred. You can see where they fell as people start to kind of mill about. Then you see what appear to be scrapes in the ground, like they were trying to hold on and tear at the ground and dragged away. You follow the drags towards the direction of Castle Ravenloft as they look like they get light and then disappear.
Oh, God. Okay. Okay. I am the note taker. Great. He kind of looks at that, and anyone around him can see his face visibly shift from curiosity to concern to worry. That's a problem.
What? Noggins, what are you talking about?
I just... Ezmerelda and Travas are gone.
Right, these two are not right. Wait, so where did they go?
If my eyes aren't playing tricks on me, I think Steve got him.
Not Steve again.
Then our destination is set. We
Yes.
must go.
We cannot leave our friends. Our friends are gone. Noggins, are you saying did they fly away? Like how did this happen?
I don't know. I just see drag marks, like they were like trying to hold on to the ground or something. But it's going into the direction he points towards the castle.
That's terrible.
Or maybe they're not there. Maybe they just got. I don't know, but I don't know where they.
If this place is ruled by the evil that you say, and you're on this quest, I hold up the blade again and it glows amber, then I will help you. And hope
Putrid greeny amber.
Granber. I'll hold up my Granber sword.
Grander.
In hopes that I can find my way out of the nightmare and back to Amaria. But until then, I will help you.
I It's very generous. But we should tell you that the previous paladin that we had working with us recently turned very hairy and all white, and is now looking quite decrepit. He just walked up those stairs. So I would take your time just committing to whatever you say you're going to do. Just be careful with your decisions.
I believe the time is on my side.
Okay, just slight warning. You hear from the guy who's like tugging at your shirt. Please be careful, little guy.
Looks down and just pats you on the head.
Exactly.
I like you. Lead the way, as I know not where to go.
Aster, were you about to say something?
If your friends are in that castle, look, I know I just met you, but I know a thing or two about trying to keep your friends together, and I might be able to help you.
And it seems you have some perspectives on Mr. Strahd, so we are always welcome. Those perspectives are always welcome. We need as much information as we can possibly get. Noggins, will you lead the way?
Up the stairs?
Yeah.
Stairs? Not Steve.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
No, not Steve. No, not Steve. Yes,
he
upstairs.
will kind of just like hop over.
Yeah.
And kind of like look back at the drags, sigh, and then we'll go up the stairs for now because there's no way we can do this. It's very second.
All right. In the meantime, while all of this was happening, you helped Argynvost up to his chamber. And his chamber was just an open chamber that you learned from the time that you spent here kind of off board from Godfrey. He used to sleep in his dragon form. He didn't have a bed. It's just a big open tower. It's one of the top of the towers. So he goes in, he greets you, he pats you on the shoulder, doesn't say much, turns around, closes the door, and that's the last you see of him, the two of you. You stand at the top. As you start to come back down the stairs, as I'm assuming you decide to join the rest of them, is there anything you want to do before you do that?
So we sort of have both escorted
Top of
him
the
out.
stairs, starting
Yeah.
to walk down now.
Yeah, you're at the top of the stairs. He just went inside. You're like, oh, well, that was the thing. And now you're on your own.
Okay. So we're walking side by side, sort of thing.
Yeah, headed downstairs.
So I'm just going to quietly say to Dimitri, "It's gone, isn't it?"
What do you mean?
Your light.
And then I knew exactly what he meant.
Yeah.
Looking at my hands and sort of feeling my face. Yes. I didn't expect this. This wasn't supposed to happen.
You did everything right.
I did. And this is what's become of me.
Perhaps it was meant to be this way.
I suppose I fit right in with the aura of the Silver Dragon now. And looking back at the door that we just closed, I'll turn back to Roan and I'll say, but there is something that seems to have taken hold. I feel like I've joined with Auge, like his power has become part of me now. I can't explain it. I just feel somewhat emboldened because of him.
And what do you intend to do now?
Well, I think once the dragon wakes up, we'll seek his guidance. But at this point, there's no turning back. You heard Strahd in the sky. You stood the land against us. There's nothing that will ate us except our own resolve now.
The land that you fought for, the people you've bled for, they're not worthy of you.
If we can free them of Strahd, then they would have no reason to seek it and harm us.
How long will you seek this path of ever pleasing everyone? Look what it's taken from you. Remember my words, friend. And with that, I'm going to walk away faster down the staircase.
So do we pass him as he walks down the staircase?
Yeah.
We
So
walk
as they finish that, they kind of make the last turn in the staircase, and you all kind of meet. And you all know that when you're in Argynvostolt, typically you meet in the dining area, which again, it's been a little time. There's the foyer with the staircase that then splits, and then there's the chapel behind, but then there's the dining hall. And you guys have, and I can't remember all of the repairs that were done, but the Discord community, the Vistani, actually helped to restore some of Argynvostolt over the last number of seasons, actually. Or the last, I think it was the last season. And so this room is actually quite cozy now, and is where you tend to sit and talk. So I'm assuming you'll retreat to there as you kind of all step into the dining room.
It's all new to me. So
That's
I guess after walking a little bit, I sort of wait for him to sort of linger, thinking about my words. Then he catches up with me. Then I let him lead me.
Sure. Yeah. I'll pass you in the hall and sort of not say anything and just walk.
Okay.
So where do we begin?
First of all, I think we just went through a big ordeal, and I think it's a time for. And as he says that, he reaches into his pocket, and you see like greenish energy begin to emanate in his hand, and he pulls out some carrot bacon. I have a snack. If anybody wants.
I turn to Loholt and I'm like, don't do it.
It's good food.
I believe I heard this voice in the sky who you call. What do you call him? Stephen? The voice?
Strahd.
He's going to fight Strahd and be like, all right, Stephen. No. He gave you a time frame of a month. I'm assuming that months are still 48 days in this place.
He didn't give us a time frame of a month. He gave the people of Barovia the time frame of a month.
For which? For what?
To deliver us to him.
Oh, the plot thickens.
Yes, in case you did not know, we are the Dawnbringers. That's
They
his.
are Dawnbreakers, yeah.
Well, Noggins is an adjacent Dawnbringer. And so
I'm sort of like, yes, sort of like.
So what you're saying is that the entire land is against you.
And remind me, what exactly happens to those who aren't able to bring us to Strahd after a month?
A fate worse than death.
Right.
I believe they use the word consume, which, chomp, chomp, chomp. What I'm doing right now, maybe he wants to eat people. I guess,
Is it?
I wouldn't put it past him.
Is there a way to? Are you known, like your faces? Do they know who you are? Are you famous to this land?
I mean, depends on. Yes, we are.
Well, I believe that Aster and I are new, and could be used as a tool to your advantage in disguise, for they do not know who we are.
I mean, that sounds nice, like, parading as us, or maybe just as newbies, but I don't think Steve cares.
No, but as a device for hiding, or perhaps for trickery, or perhaps for deceit.
I don't. Information gathering and foraging, I was thinking, but.
Yes, of course, those things as well.
Well, there's also, a problem. And as he says that, as we're in this dining hall, I'm assuming there's a table on the in the middle, I think,
Yep.
It has like dust and stuff. We haven't cleaned up. We cleaned up a little bit. We didn't clean up completely.
No. But you did have Vistani milling about.
We did.
So they actually did. They cleaned it. So it's not completely restored, but they fixed the leak in the ceiling and stuff, so it's livable. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like some dust on the table, and he'll kind of just like splay his hand, and that dust will suddenly form a dome. And you'll see some dust in the middle, and then a dome around that. He'll like a circle around that, and he'll go. There is a big old sphere of mist around us. I don't know if we can get out of that.
And that's not the only issue. We find ourselves with our 2 companions taken from us.
Oh yeah, they're at Steve has them. Found that out, probably.
Yet strangely 2 others, by chance, they let that word linger, by chance, take their place. You've mentioned that the people of Barovia do not know you. However, we do not know you. Neither of you.
This whole time, Dimitri is sort of, at the beginning of that, what caught his eye was your sword and the sort of glow it has, and he's sort of sizing you up this whole time. And so after you say that, he'll sort of interrupt and look at you and say, "So you are a knight of light, then?"
Of time.
Well, how much time before your light is also extinguished? This land is a way with taking from people what they brought with it. And with that, he'll hold his hand open, and you've never seen him do this, but he'll sort of, and press the digitation, a tiny little flame appears, and it doesn't look hot or anything, but it's orange, and he looks at you and says, "It's only a matter of time before this land corrupts us all. Time is not on our side, as we just heard. We have to move quickly." And then he'll snuff it out.
As you go to snuff it out, I'll reach out and grab your fist and hold it and be like, "Then we get the jump on this evil thing, and we go forward fast. And punch him before he has a chance to plan against us."
Well, I remember that sort of optimism.
It's the sort of optimism that gets people killed.
Do not fear death.
I don't. Trust me, I don't.
There are worse things
worse
than
things
death.
I was just going to say the same thing.
Apparently it's a theme in this place.
Yes.
I think it's nice to have, like, we're gonna go save the world and stuff, and we did just come from a place where we got some things that can help, but groves don't get built in a day, and I don't think we can tear down one in a day as well. We're not gonna just go and fight.
And my concern remains. We don't know them. We don't know any of these 2. And our companions have disappeared, and they were left in their place.
Yes, we know how you don't like to be around. But regardless, it's
Respectable.
regardless, we do need allies along this path, and certainly what Sterling said earlier is still true. We cannot leave this land to this terrible man who is destroying everything. So the moment we have the chance of finding new allies who might be able to offer some new skills to the party, perhaps we should consider that. Given that all of us come from different places as well.
Can I just quickly sort of cover my face, and then I want to cast message and just whisper, and it'll appear in Dimitri's mind, like, allies perhaps, but not trusted. And after that, after the whisper, I'm going to look. You make good sense, Falfer. Very well then. Welcome. And I look at you and Aster.
Not to be that person. I have a passive of 19. Did I notice that he was whispering? I can't hear message, but did I notice that he jumped on whispering?
Sure. Give me a performance check.
A performance
Yeah.
or okay.
Yeah.
Performance.
Performance or deception.
Okay. Well, I will take.
What's your passive? 22?
19.
Oh, jeez.
16 on me.
Okay, I'll take deception.
Oh.
That would be 22.
Yeah. So no, nobody noticed it.
All right then. We have two different paths that we could take. One is perhaps chasing our friends into Castle Ravenloft. The other one is to pursue or find out what is happening with these dragons or this dragon man first, and then pursuing with the rest of our adventures. What should we do, Dimitri?
Well, I think we should consult with Godfrey. I don't know how much time Augenvoss needs to rest, but my intuition says that we should wait for his instruction. Was Godfrey even around? Like, did he?
You can find him. So he disappeared into the mansion. And if you'd like to beckon him, you can. You go to find him, and you see him resting in the chapel, actually, just kind of standing in front of the altar. And when you kind of get up to him and you kind of tap him, he kind of starts for a second. And he looks back at you and tell him that you need, and he heads back with you to the dining hall. And he enters and he says, "Yes, it's been quite the day."
Godfrey. Me resurrecting Augenvoss, the form he is in now. Did I do the right thing? Should I have?
Yes, beyond the shadow of a doubt, he is back. And I did not think that was possible. But here he is.
But what of his condition? I expected the silver dragon, and he recoils at light, the light of day.
And I expected to die a valorous death on the battlefield, but here I am.
How much time would you say you would need before we're able to have a audience with him?
I have not had a moment yet to confer, but I suggest that we wait. And when he is ready, he will come forth from his chamber. But he shall not be bothered until then. And he looks at all of you to make sure that you understand.
Very well.
What are we up against?
And sorry, and what you see, Godfrey, is much the same visage as him, with the reddish eyes and so on, but gaunt, pale, kind of ramshackle sort of. Oh no, the armor was fixed. I think he got armor somewhere.
He got new. Yeah, he surely did.
Yeah, he got new armor.
You
Right?
were about to have me out there with a 13 AC.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, exactly. So he got new armor. So he's got shiny new armor, but he's basically like an undead creature of sorts, humanoid, but very plain, kind, stoic. But and he says,
So what are we up against?
the land itself. I know you are new here, but Strahd is the land, and the only hope anyone has ever had was with Augenvoss at our back. And he defeated us, and he defeated Lord Augenvoss, and he tore him to pieces, and used his bones as trophies. So you tell me what hope there is. And that was before he was a vampire.
A vampire.
And not just a vampire. He is this place.
Can he hear us?
His eyes are everywhere. And then he stops for a second. He goes, but somehow, the might and the return of our Lord Argonvost has fortified this area. I don't quite understand it, but it feels different. It is keeping the mist at bay.
And he will send an army.
Yes, if he is to be believed, and the devil does not lie.
Every enemy has a weakness. We must find out what that weakness is.
Well, according to Madame Eva, the very wise Vistani woman we had spoken to when we first arrived, there is a sword of sunlight which lies in a crypt which we believe is with Strahd's brother's body, and by the name of Sergei. Best I understand, that may be in Strahd's own palace. So, as far as I'm concerned, we have to go there for 3 reasons. Sun Sword, our friends, and to stop the man himself.
Sterling, have you seen the harness anywhere?
Yes. I have it beneath my bag here on my back.
Sorry, I had misplaced it, I thought, so I just wanted to, if we're going to do a journey, you know me.
I see. I have a question for Aster.
Yes.
You seem to have some personal experience when it comes to Strahd, do you not?
I do.
Can you tell us the story?
From what I gather, much like all of you, came here through the mists, not of my own free will. And there were others with me. They are gone now. The one sounded a lot like you, all brazen, determined to kill that creature in the castle. And we failed.
That's a very short story. What happened?
They failed.
No, of course, but how did they fail? Like, perhaps there are clues.
I don't believe it is wise to have her recount the shortcomings of her companions.
No, but
it would be traumatic. And
perhaps
wait a second, he does raise a point.
we need some clues here. I mean, we are up against. You just heard from the undead man that we are like pigeons on the wire between homes, and there's a hunter there, and he's willing to shoot them down with ease.
Aster.
That is us.
Aster,
Yes.
without too much torment to you, could you recount some of this? To give us a clue, perhaps? Something that would give us any sort of idea as to how to surpass the enemy within.
Like these people, the name Madame Eva, it's a name I know as well. She had given us some information, and a long story short, we ended up within the walls of Castle Ravenloft. We went looking for the very artifact of which you speak in the tomb in which you speak, and if it is really your purpose to seek it out, then I can tell you that tomb does lie beneath those walls.
That is clue enough.
But we did not find such an artifact. I do believe it's probably been moved. I think Strahd knows that people are looking for it, and based on that little showing in the clouds earlier, I think it's quite safe to say he's probably safeguarded it.
One more question I have for Godfrey. When you say he is the lad, You say so with a certain amount of literality. We've heard many times people say that he is the land. Does that mean upon his death, this place will cease to exist? Or does it mean something more?
I do not know. I do know that that is the hope that many have had. That when he is gone, when he is put to rest, that the prison he has created will no longer exist and this valley will return to its original resting place. That is the hope, that we will all be free, myself included.
Brandon, you'll remember that when Roan returned to the party last season, he had mentioned reading ancient texts about Barovia and how that that Roan had also claimed that even if we defeated Strahd, we would not win, because he is eternal. So you would remember that, because that would have been yesterday in game.
Yesterday short a year.
It's a long day.
Roan, you know something of this.
As I said before, he cannot be killed. However, we can escape. Perhaps he can be banished for a time, but if what I've read is correct, there is no winning in this fight. But a temporary banishment, perhaps, an escape for all of us?
I can't just. If that's what you want to do, I think we talked about this the other day too. If that's what you want to do is just get out, then more power to you.
I am
that
with
should be
you.
what I want to do.
I am with you to a point. And that point is, we will defeat Strahd, but like I said, as I understand that this game will never end. There are powers beyond our understanding at play here. But we should be able to stop it for a time, to make our way out.
But that's not everyone's end goal.
What is yours?
I am a walker, a leader, a understander of the dream, and this is a much darker manifestation of that, one that shouldn't be how it is. So it's now my goal to fix this place. And if a temporary fix means it just becomes a nightmare again, then that isn't a fix, that's a band-aid. And while yes, I want to leave, and a part of me should just leave, I can't do that. That's not what me and my grove, that's not what we do.
Yes. Sorry, Sterling, go.
If he cannot be killed, and all we can do is banish him, there must be some way to imprison him.
Well, remember we're still just, peas in a small pod of a plant that he probably can easily step on, but we found out that he's connected to vampire.
Sterling,
So,
you misunderstand. This is the prison. And that's why it never ends. That's why we're here, imprisoned all the same. We're in the prison, Sterling.
Are you proposing that we free everyone from this prison, while Strahd is otherwise banished?
If that's
So that when he returns, he has no one left to play with.
If that's what can be done, then that's what can be done. But first and foremost, I propose we free ourselves. Again and again we've sacrificed here. For what? For a land that now turns against us? That will hunt us down? And kill us?
Yes. I've chosen long ago not to fight for my own behalf. I fight for the benefit of others, you know? But Ron is different. He fights for himself.
There are many people in this world, or the worlds that I come from, who do what they have to survive. It doesn't make them good or bad. And we shouldn't blame them for not having the stalwartness to fight against Strahd. So I would think that if we could banish him for a time, I would agree with Sterling that we could escort as many people out as possible. If we can bring them back to my home, I'll protect them there. But more importantly, is this Strahd a proud individual?
I should think so.
Then if he returns to an empty box, his pride will haunt him for all of his eternity. And that is justification enough for me.
You know, Ron, you are right. I mean, this is a true prison.
I'm not Roan. Wrong.
I got it. So you are correct. I believe you are feeling the same things we are feeling about this place. That it is a true prison. I mean, every time we go to the mists, they keep us in. When we have a victory, it pulls us down. When our magical weapons are shown, it shows of ichor and poison. Perhaps the trick here is not to defeat Strahd or kill him here, but to keep him here while we escape. So, I think the only difference we have, my friend, if I can call you that, is that I am not willing to do it just for myself. I would prefer to be on Sterling and Lawrence. Phil?
He leans forward. Unless you like it here. His eyes, milky eyes, just stare you deep into the darkness. Unless you like it here.
I seem, with the right amount of insight, I suppose you haven't done any of that, but...
I mean, I don't know how many games do the roll on roll, but if I were to do an insight on this point, it would be 22.
You can roll a persuasion or deception. You can decide which one. Don't tell us what it is, and then you can tell him what.
So you won handily, very handily. I appear to your eyes too comfortable with the environment, almost as though it has a part of me is part of it, or I appear too comfortable with this dark realm.
Do I get enough looking in that your comfort is based on that you call this home now, and that you don't quite see it as dark, or but you also don't like Strahd, or do I feel that you?
I don't see it as home. I see these. I see it as a part of me, a part that, just a part, but I'm all too comfortable with this place. So some of the stuff that I say about escaping might not necessarily, you think it's true, but it's not the complete. It's not everything there.
He won't.
Or even close to anything there.
He
everything.
Won't belie this to anybody. He'll just lean back.
Okay.
Can I just ascertain that Noggins get the same vibe?
With the passive,
I think it's fair to say that Noggins always watches Ron and tries to find intent underneath the intent.
Sure, with the passive that you have, yeah.
You'd get that I'm saying the truth, but that I'm all too comfortable with this land, and that goes back to first season. So.
And as he leans back, he goes, Loholt.
Sorry, I'm terrible with names.
The important thing is we can't do anything right now. So perhaps we work on ourselves, or try to get better, or learn, try to figure out, read the stuff that we transcribed. which we did. We transcribed the notes about Vampire and potentially how to imprison and all that stuff. We got that from Exit Panther's library. Just, I don't know how long that mist is going to be around, but I doubt we can just walk through it. So it'd be probably best for us to, I don't know, come to our senses and just hope that the dragon person gets better soon.
I definitely need a rest.
Yes, perhaps we should rest for the night and reconvene in the morning.
Cue montage, Eye of the Tiger. Everyone's just doing push-ups. Sterling's just standing there watching the whole time.
The steps on Argynvost told us just like 190 steps.
All right.
I will take the lead from my the leader of my order and also rest. Let's go.
All right. So you rest. Is the intention to wait until Argynvost meets with you?
Yes, I think right. Yeah.
Until
but there's not much we can do.
Well, it depends. If we're running on a week or two and the time crunch is happening, perhaps we should have a meeting in the morning to see what the situation is.
Yeah, I would expect that by the next day we would be summoned for an audience.
Yeah. So the next morning, Godfrey comes to you.
At some point.
Yeah. Did you text me? Because I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything from you.
I'm about to say, Jade, you also know something will happen tonight.
Yeah.
Okay, me too. Hold on.
No, messenger.
Yeah. So Godfrey comes back to you in the morning and confers to you that, or tells you, communicates to you that that Argynvost is going to need more time to recover, and it actually takes 4 days until he is of sound mind and strength. But when he does come to you, you meet in the dining room again, and he enters with a different air about him. There is a confidence and a strength and an assurance that wasn't evident before. Like he has completely recovered from the process of the resurrection and is now his full strengthened self.
But he still looks like
an undead. Okay. But very well put together, very confident, very regal. Almost takes kind of your breath away when he walks into the room.
So we have waited
You've waited the 4 days.
Yeah, during those 4 days, I think I would have spent most of my time walking the perimeter, staring at the moon, goading, trying
So
to
over the 4 days, you watch as it fills a little bit more with that blood kind of color.
Like an hourglass.
As you do the walk, you start to notice that this protective dome isn't made of mist. There is some sort of coalesced energy that is holding the mists at bay. And over the 4 days, those of you that kind of do a walk around the perimeter, you notice that there are, every once in a while, the appearance of creatures or something trying to get in, but aren't able to. And every once in a while you see through the mists, and you can see that there are creatures and people and Barovians and Vistani trying to enter this area and haven't been able to as of yet. And over the 4 days, you also notice that the area around Argynvost, the grass looks just a little bit greener. The air just a little bit cleaner.
Oh boy.
And so it's almost like this area is being renewed in a sense. Argynvost appears to you on the 5th day. And
it was good.
Yeah. And for the sake of brevity, because you can have lots of conversations with him moving forward. But he conveys and communicates to you that he needs time to catch up for centuries of slumber, basically. And though his spirit was evident that there's some disconnect there, and that he needs to confer with everyone to kind of get a download of the information and where everything is at. And that he has, from his essence, created this protective barrier that is keeping everyone at bay from the attack that is trying to. And it's not just the land, it's Barovians who don't want to be punished, it's whatever. But he conveys to you that he believes that your purpose is to bring an end to Strahd, and that the 30 days should be waited out. 31 days should be waited out here. That Argynvostholt should be fortified, that you should spend the time repairing, preparing, so that when that month is over, you're ready to act.
Okay.
And that he's convinced, and at this point we can go into roleplay, he says, you do not stand a chance against the forces of this world. Even with my army at our backs. Not yet. We need to muster allies. And my understanding from what Godfrey has told me is that you have allied yourselves with certain people of Barovia. A war is coming.
Argynvost, do you believe that the Vistani people will turn from their ways and return back to Strahd?
Some already have, from my understanding. Again, there is much I need to understand. There is much I need to learn. But my understanding is that some of the Vistani are for us and on our side, and others are against us and serve Strahd. The same can be said for Barovians, the same can be said for creatures. There's still much to learn for the war ahead. But we need to find out who those allies are. And so tell me, over your travels, who will help us?
I look to the seats around the table where Ezmerelda would usually sit and Travas would usually sit. I say, honestly, we have less help than we would usually have. It feels a little bit, I mean, no disrespect, but it feels like we need much more help.
We have made friends in different parts of the land as well. We've had help from some of the Stani. It's been, remember where Callie left us.
Right.
She's still there, presumably.
There's all those people who helped us defeat the zombie horde. Remember that battle? Wow.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
The Raven people.
Oh, right.
Might help.
Yeah.
Keepers of the Feather.
Markovs.
Markovs, yeah.
And maybe the Dusk Elves. Veragakis.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Rictavio.
Right, Rictavio.
And
Who you know now? Who know you?
the folks at Drita and Stangy. They're stuck here too.
There is another that Madame Eva had mentioned that I don't believe we have met yet. An entertaining man with a monkey
Was that not Blinksy?
would help us battle against darkness.
Oh.
Did Blinsky have a monkey? No one told me this.
I don't remember anymore. That place was crazy. Seriously. You remember that place? I remember the dolls. That's all I remember. I still have one. Kidding! I don't have one. It's a joke.
Travas does. Travas and Ezmerelda went back there.
Yeah.
Well, if it is Blinsky, then perhaps we need to speak with him.
I honestly, I do not remember. I was just kind of.
Are we still in front of Argenvost, or are we conferring amongst ourselves?
No, you are.
Okay.
Yeah, you're in the dining hall.
Okay.
So perhaps we do have more friends. And Argenvost is right. That once we gather these people, is there any way to send a message to any of them? Argenvost, perhaps you can help us in this time to coordinate, to plan with an army here at Argenvost.
Bring them into the safety of this bubble.
Yes. Start the training.
Argenvost says, I do not know what awaits us, or you, when this 30 days ends. But I believe this, if I allow this protective barrier to go down, I cannot assure your safety. No magic in, no magic out. We are completely and utterly safe and protected for now.
Right.
But at the same time, they're mustering against us outside. Perhaps we should be leaving early to seek out assistance, rather than let them muster at our doorstep, so to speak.
If we were to send a scout, perhaps someone who's unfamiliar to them, we have two such faces in our...
Like sheep to the wolves! That's a crazy idea!
I don't know where to go, but perhaps Aster does. I would be willing to accompany her.
But didn't she just say that she got into that castle and failed? So technically, I guess Steve does know her.
Ah, yes. That leaves me. I was involved... Go ahead.
No, you go.
I was involved in a rebellion of my own. A group of mana-hating, mana-wielding, and destructive knights washed across my land and destroyed my family. Their attempts to genocide all things magical took grip for 2 decades. But there were rebellions, many of them, unable to communicate with each other across the land. It took signs, languages, anything we could, portents, to let everyone know that there was a unification to stand against this army, known as the Eltherian Knights. They were overthrown. The fallout is still quite a war-torn society, but the Empire has fallen. The rebellions work together. If you have allies that you've met along the way, there must be some commonality that they are familiar with that you can call upon, so that they know what to do and where. Something that will be unfamiliar to the foes.
No magic in, no magic out, he said. But what about a small window for a short period?
That's what I was going to ask, because I have some ways of finding things out. I can't necessarily communicate, but I think I can to get some knowledge. So any way you can...
Any crack, any crevice will allow the mists to enter. The mists themselves are life-taking force. We will not be able to stand against them.
I have to know if Ezmerelda and Gervais are alive. Even if that means I need to step. But I can look into them and make sure they're okay.
I can tell you that more likely than not, I imagine that if he wants you, what better way to get you there than to keep them alive? If there's anyone safe in Barovia, it's them.
They may not be comfortable, but you have a point.
So, how do you suppose we do this then, Argenvost? I mean, we're not allowed to bring armies in. We are not allowed to leave. without serious repercussions, where we most likely die. Can you give us a hint about perhaps how we should ready ourselves here?
Yes. I said fortify. This place is in ruin since I last was the master of it. I say you take the time to fortify, to make sure that this place is defensible. My hope is that when that 30 days comes, he drops his wrath on this valley, but he would anyways. And once that happens, perhaps the mists will allow us to leave. Right now, this protective barrier is the only thing keeping it out. And if we wait the month, unless you plan to turn yourselves in,
No, but I did notice.
which I will not allow.
You did make or I did notice while walking outside, and perhaps Noggins, you noticed this as well, but things are growing a little bit better, and
Yeah, I checked on the grove that I made, and it's definitely, more veggies.
so like, is there a chance, Argenvos, that if we live within this protective bubble for this amount of time you suggest, that we ourselves would get stronger?
I do not know. I did not expect it to have the effect on the land as it has. I didn't expect any of this. But once the barrier, if the mists recede, right now they have not, in 4 days I am told. Once they recede, you can come and go as you please. This area will remain as a protective barrier that you can call your allies to, despite what happens to the land after the month ends. But as long as the mists press against it, anything that we allow through will also allow them in.
Yes.
And so I do not think we have any choice but to wait.
Would your undead servants be able to help us in this attempt to garrison?
Yes, of course.
Good. We'll need all the help we can get.
All right. Well, to it then.
And yeah, I guess we do what we can while we're here.
Loholt will take some of his plate armor off, go down and find tools, and begin building something.
Okay. All right. You wait the remaining of the month.
Wow.
Which brings you to the time period that is right now in line with our Discord and our greater narrative.
Cool.
Not to make a big thing, because I don't want to take up too much time, but there's absolutely no way he wouldn't have tried to look into either Loholt or Aster. Probably Loholt at this point.
Into the dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
And
Can
roll
we?
what it does,
Yeah.
I mean,
Let's. Can we deal with that next session? And just for everybody at home, we've now
Of course, yeah.
we're condensing down to 2 hours episodes, so we can get more content out more often without a break. And so we are nearing the end. Actually, we're almost going over, but it's okay. It's the premiere. We needed a little more time. But we will have 2-hour episodes every week moving forward. But yeah, we'll deal with that Noggins at the beginning of next episode. Just remind me. Okay.
Great.
All right.
I mean, both of them then at that point, because there's no way now you would have.
Sure,
Anyway,
sure.
continue.
Sure, I like it. We can do kind of like a flashback sort of scenario. And so literally October 1st, like IRL time, calendar time, Strahd made this warning in our Discord. And so our Discord have been waiting 31 days as the moon fills for the last 31 days up until this day, up until this point, Halloween night.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
On the evening of the 31st day.
Are we still level 9?
What's that? I didn't hear. What'd you say?
I said, are we still level 9?
Yes.
Oh, 30 days of training?
Not
We
training,
had a
building.
montage. Dun, dun, dun.
Building. You're still level 9, yes.
Building our levels.
We got 2 levels. No, I'm just kidding.
For the sake of brevity.
Yeah.
Level 13.
Yeah. On the evening of the 31st day, you watch as the moon fills completely. And as that happens, at Argynvostolt, you feel a slight tremor in the ground that exists.
Can we be in the dining room just like
Sure.
having
Sure.
some food?
And as you watch, the glasses start to go a little bit, and the cutlery begins to rattle across the table a little bit.
Yeah, I go. Was that you?
Chink. Make my way out.
Okay. As you kind of exit, I'm assuming all of you are following outside. As you kind of descend the steps, that mist that exists, that's covering the dome, goes and takes off almost really super quickly, kind of like recedes off the dome and like shoots off in all directions. You immediately begin to hear the screams and yells of horror that fill the valley. Discord. Your characters, as you are in camps right now, and all of our groups are actually in encounter channels on a Discord right now. This rumble crescendos into a full-blown, what feels like an earthquake. And you watch as hordes of creatures begin to pour out of the woods and out of the fields that surround Camp Drepta and Camp Stanga, and begin to swarm the camp. Almost to an overwhelming amount. Not almost, to an overwhelming amount. To the point where it is clear to you that standing and fighting would mean certain death. You try and collect each other and you try and rally those around you. And at this time, as the moon fills entirely with blood, and the rain, because it has been raining blood throughout Barovia, which you would know in your little warm dome, begins to fall heavy, the elders call Dia Yag and instruct you all to flee towards the direction that they had all discussed. I won't tell you what that direction is prior. The gates and the walls of each camp are bashed by nightmare beasts, creaking and crashing down around you. Magical defenses and closures are dispelled by flying magical creatures, casting spells. At this point, I'd like you all to make your group survival check, which you will be asked to make in the Discord currently by those leading in the channels. Those of you that decide to stay and fight, you know what that means for your character, and you can communicate that to our SMITHGARDIANS in those channels now. Those of you who decide to flee, you make that survival check. I also want you to make, each individual group is going to make a con save. If you pass, you get your stuff and you're ready to go. You're able to collect your things in your camp as you flee. That's a DC of 14. If you fail, your stuff is collected, but you gain 1 level of exhaustion and lose 1 random magic item, which the DM will roll for you in that channel. Falling debris begins to overwhelm sort of the area, and as you flee the area, the ground begins to implode. As if Camp Stanga and Camp Drepta are being swallowed by the land, as it begins to basically fold in on itself and swallow the inhabitants or anything that is in its wake. Next, I would like you all to make a group athletics check. The DC is 20. As fallen debris blocks the path as the storm rages and the moon shatters, chunks of the moon flying towards where you had fled from, the world rumbling around you, dust picks up into the air around you as the group makes one last effort, nearing their destination. If you pass, which is a majority success, the debris is moved with the group's amazing effort and you all progress onwards. If you fail, you are only able to move some debris. As you move over them, you lose half of your resources, based on a 1d4 roll. If you do not have any of the resource type, you re-roll once, then proceed. Roll a 1d4. All of this will be listed and explained in your channels currently. Needless to say, Strahd's wrath racks the countryside. You don't know where else this is happening. As far as you know in Argynvostholt, you actually watch as around the dome, the ground begins to try and swallow Argynvostholt, and it can't. That this protective barrier holds it steady as almost like a trench begins to build and deteriorate around the area and around the mansion. And as you all stand and you hear the screams and the yells, time passes and you're not sure how much. As you watch, helpless to do anything. Until finally, out from the woods, 1, 2, 5, 10 groups of people start to converge on Argynvostholt. You all sort of ready yourselves with resolve until you realize the faces of friends, of those who are coming not to destroy you, but to aid you. As the people of Dripta and Stanga come to support you in your fight against Strahd. And they pass easily through the barrier as they start to gather in and around where you are. One of the last to pass through is Madame Eva. She smiles at you and she nods.
You made it.
And this is where we're going to end the season premiere of season 5.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
The war is coming.
Well, looks like we looks like Aster and I stepped into a big
Yeah. A big something.
big domestic.
A big something. Yeah.
Domestic.
A big domestic.
Yeah. All right. Thank you again to the Discord for all of that. Enjoy, enjoy or
Or be destroyed.
Or be destroyed. But either way, what basically this means now is for the next week of time that you are all in the same place. So in the Discord, from now until next week's episode, you all can talk to the people of the Discord. You can get in. If they have items that they want to trade with you, just like in past seasons, you can interact with the people of the world. Then, beginning next episode is where we're going to basically take. So it's going to be some time. It won't be a week, but it'll be days.
We're gonna be armed
time.
to the teeth.
I'll take that, and I'll take that,
Yeah.
and I'll take that.
As of course people from around are starting to settle. So this week is kind of like the settle time of people coming to Argynvostholt and you guys discussing what's going to happen. And the next episode will take place. We'll start now.
Okay.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I give a quick shout out?
Yeah.
A huge shout out to the SMITHGARDIANS team.
That was
who has been planning with Jay this whole moment for a while. Specifically, shout out to Jimmy, Joe, Darbie, Brittany, and Jeremy. And I would say myself, but that feels self-ejaculatory.
You just did.
That's all right. It's been a long time coming, so I just want to make sure they got some love for putting
Huge
together.
love. And that was my next thing. Is I was going to say a massive thank you. No, it's all good. A huge, massive thank you to them. They write a lot of the narrative that happens kind of in the community, and I just love these moments when we're able to kind of bring them together and kind of do this because it's really awesome, cool, and it feels like we're supported by this army of people behind us. Discord, welcome to Argenvostolt. Welcome to your new area, which you will start to learn more about over the next little while. And so for right now, Omega, I think what we're going to do is we're going to open up the Argenvostolt channels just so that there can be conversation in there. And then next week, we'll proceed with the rest of the plan. And we'll discuss that with the SMITHGARDIANS after the fact and moving into what that means. But as of right now, Argenvostolt's surrounding area is open to the Discord and the Vistani and the adventurers that live there.
So you should tell the people who are on YouTube watching how to join this craziness.
Yeah. So check out patreon.com/RealmSmith. You can become a patron. You decide what level you want to be a patron at, and then you have a character in our world. You get magic items. The higher levels you get, and then you can be a part of this craziness. And we're going to do a lot more of this sort of like interactive stuff this season where we'll check in with the community and there will be this kind of discourse because now you all kind of live sort of in the same area, which we're uniting the clans as it were. They're pulling from Braveheart, but yeah, we're bringing people together under one roof so that it's easier to communicate and to interact. Anyways, awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you, Devin. Appreciate all the production stuff today. Thank you, Six Sides. We are live from the Six Sides of Gaming Studios currently, and thank you for giving us a home now that we don't have my old studio, which was in my old house. And I have now moved and got married and stuff. Anyways, and people have got married and had babies, and oh my goodness, it's been a people. I say people, and I point to you. And you have.
You're good people.
Hey, he's six weeks old now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, he's
awesome.
future
Amazing.
paladin in training.
Love it. Love it. All right, we will see you next week. Be good. Love each other. Thank you, Aster, and of course, Tom for joining us. Aster, Erin, and Tom for joining us. And they will be joining us for the next 3 episodes as well. 2 or 3 episodes. We'll see. Love you. Bye.